Today we are going to work on getting the shoulders and upper back more mobile and flexible so that you can have better comfort when you are doing squats, handstands, skipping, all that good stuff. So let's do a quick assessment to see where you're starting from, and then you can recheck these at the end to see if you've made any progress. So take a seat and sit up nice and tall. Using your abs, twist your spine as far as possible. Notice that your hips, your legs are being perfectly stable here. And the goal is to move at least 45 degrees. So if I'm in my box, my shoulders are pointing towards the corners of the room or possibly a little farther. Note how this feels. Is it easy? Is it painful? Is there anything that feels a little bit off? And then come back, do the other side. Twist. How does side two feel? Can you go 45 degrees towards the corners of the room or your imaginary box? And does it feel easy and comfortable? Next, notice if both sides are somewhat symmetrical. So depending on your body, you may have 45 degrees of motion and that might feel like you're normal. Some folks have plenty more, up to 90 degrees. Usually you have to work on that. All right, so that's pre-test number one. Number two, lie on your back with your knees pulled up to your chest. Think of like a super deep squat. Keeping your knees in will help you keep your lower back grounded on the floor. And take your arms overhead pretty narrow and note how it feels in your shoulders. Can your arms go all the way to the floor or do they stop somewhere above the floor? As you're lowering your arms, keep your back flat on the ground. If there's a point where your ribs start to pop off and your back arches, that's when you need to stop. You've gone too far. That's when you're going to start compensating in your squat. So this is like a pretty bottom range overhead squat position. All right, so notice where you are. Can you get to the floor? If not, how far is your wrist off the floor? And if you can get to the floor, how comfortable does it feel? If you can do all of these tests with no trouble, then you're probably ready to go. Otherwise, stick with me here for some mobility work. So stand up again. Let's just start with some shoulder rolls. Up, back, and down. Keep going forward, up, back, and down. We're going to keep doing a lot of rolls, so keep going as I talk about it. As you're doing your shoulder rolls, keep a little bit of core engagement, like you're slightly braced, like 10% core braced. And notice if you can only move your shoulder blades and nothing else in your body. Allow your arms to fully dangle and just be heavy so that your elbows aren't cheating and doing all the work. Just the shoulder blades. Imagine you had some dumbbells in your arms and are weighting your arms down. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. And 1. Okay, lift your shoulders all the way up. Check back in with your abs, a little bit engaged. Shoulders back. Shoulders down. Keep them down and tip your head over to one side. Now from here, rotate your nose down to your armpit. Trace your chin along your collarbone through the center over to the other armpit. Once you're there, turn your head to the side so that your ear is over your shoulder. Now circle to the back. So look up to the sky, circle your head up and around, keeping length through all of your neck bone joints. And then come back up. Whew. Okay, repeat. Lift up, back, and down with your shoulders. Ribs stay connected with your core. And then tip your head to the other side. Rotate your nose to your armpit. Trace your chin along your collarbone. All the way to the other side. Nose to your armpit. Tip your head to the side. And then continue circling to the back. How did that feel in your neck? Ideally, you keep your head your neck as long as possible so you don't have too many crunchies in there. Notice Notice how it felt now and maybe try it again later. Hopefully it'll feel better. Okay, grab a mobility band or a yoga strap. If you don't have something like this, a regular thinner band would work, a belt, find maybe a sheet even, just something that has some length to it that you can put over your shoulder. I like the mobility band because the tackiness holds onto my skin a little bit better. So put the band or whatever you can find, a towel even over your shoulder, and then pull down so that your shoulder is anchored downwards away from your head. This arm can just dangle for the moment. Tuck your chin in over your body and then tip your head away from your shoulder and then come back up. Let's do just that simple movement a couple times. Tip over and come back up. Tip over, come back up. What I'm hoping that you feel is that your band is holding your shoulder blade down, that you feel some stretch between the band and your head, somewhere in this range, possibly even your face. All right, hold your head there, then rotate your nose down, return to the side, that same side stretch, and then rotate your nose up as you nod your head back, like you're dozing off to sleep. And then try going forward again. Side, rotate and drop back. One more time, forward and back. Return to the side, hold there. Now, with your shoulder, lift up to your ear. You may not feel like you can go full range because you're pulling down, but just do your best and then lower your shoulder blade back down. Shoulder up, shoulder down, shoulder up, shoulder down. One more time, up and down. Whew, come all the way up. Take that band off for a moment. See how that shoulder feels. See how your neck feels. Might feel a little weird, especially if you're being aggressive about it. All right, let's do side two. I definitely feel better on side one. So put your band, strap, towel, sheet, dog leash, whatever you found on side number two. Pull down, kind of pulling down and a little bit across my body since I have the opposite hand. And then let's go. Chin in, tip your head, and come back up. Just that pure side bend. Tip over, come back up, tip, and return. Hold this next one. Rotate your nose down towards your armpit, and then rotate up. Drop your head back. Rotate down, smell your armpit. Return through the side, and then continue going back and look to the sky. One more time, forward and back. Return to that pure side bend motion, and then lift the shoulder up and down. Lift up and down. It's like a weird shrug. Shrug up, shrug down. Up and down. One more time, up and down. Okay, come on up. All right, just take a few more shoulder rolls, see how that feels. If you've been doing a lot of snatches or just having tension in your neck from maybe typing desk work, and you feel a huge change in how your shoulders move, then your neck is definitely contributing to maybe holding your shoulders up here so then you can't do things. Right. Okay, so lift the shoulders up, back, and down. Just do one more head circle each way. Have at your own timing here. See how that feels. And then reverse the direction. All right. Okay, now take both arms overhead. Reach one arm crazy high, grab your wrist, and pull up with the grabbing hand. I'm going to like slightly soften my knees, sort of like I'm hanging from a bar, and then side bend over. Hold and breathe into that rib cage that you're opening. Can you imagine expanding those ribs? It's kind of like an accordion would expand. And then come back up. Drop the arms. Side two, reach, grab the second arm, lengthen up, soften your knees like you're hanging, and then bend on over. Pause and breathe. Take a deep breath into those flared open ribs. Good. Come all the way up. Drop those arms. Whew. Okay, so let's talk about what your shoulder blades can do. So they can come forward into like protraction and then backwards into retraction. So for a moment, just do that movement and see how that feels. How far can you protract and retract without your ribs moving? So this is like a kipping movement with your shoulder blades. And your shoulders go through this position in push-ups, even in handstands to a degree. All right, so we're going to exaggerate this movement with the arms in a goalpost. So sink your knees down a little bit, find your core so you feel stable here. The ribs aren't going to do all the work. And then bring your elbows towards each other. So we're protracting, sort of like if you're in a forearm plank. And then open, rotate your palms outward. So now your pinky fingers are behind you. And then squeeze the shoulder blades together. You will feel an opening of your chest and collarbone, but avoid a big rib push out. All right, so still got that core tight. All right, so let's continue. Come forward, elbows forward to protract the shoulders, and then palms out, elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades back. Keep going forward, shoulder blades protract, and palms away, pinky fingers back. Feel fancy, squeeze the shoulder blades. Let's keep going a couple times. This is essentially what your shoulder blades are doing if you're hanging on the bar while doing a kipping pull-up, sort of. So notice how your shoulder blades feel through protraction and retraction. I'm already getting pretty tired. One more. All right, shake it out. All right, take your arms overhead, so it's like a handstand or like you're hanging from a bar. And let's do the same thing. So squeeze your shoulder blades back, palms go outwards, shoulder blades forward, palms come together, maybe even like rotate palms behind you. Shoulder blades back, palms rotate out and behind, shoulder blades forward, return. Keep going back and forth. If you're hanging from a bar kipping, you may have that sense where you're kind of breaking the bar one way or breaking the bar the other way. So this is an exaggeration of that movement. Again, notice if you are able to keep your rib cage perfectly still. If this feels like crazy uncomfortable in your shoulders, just come back down to that first version. Maybe find some intermediate height that feels doable to you. And as we get more mobility in your spine, it should feel easier. As your shoulder blades come behind you, your thoracic spine, your upper back must flatten a little bit to create space. And so if you're finding a lot of difficulty with this, we'll come back to it after we get more upper back mobility work done. Whew. All right, arms are warmed up. Come down to your hands and knees. Super simple cat-cow to start with. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Push the ground away, hollow all the way up into the biggest cat possible. Take a moment here and notice if you can tuck your tailbone more, which means lift your abs more. And can you nod your chin to your chest anymore? And then take a breath. Reverse. Eyes go forward, tailbone lifts to the ceiling. Now in this cow position, can you think of widening your collarbone, which means the shoulder blades are going to sort of like rotate outwards. Collarbone forward, eyes forward, chest up, while also lifting your tailbone. Now in this position, you should feel like your back muscles are working, but can you also find a little bit of ab engagement even though you're arched? All right, reverse. Push the floor away, round all the way up into your cat. And again, can you tuck the tailbone any more? Can you tuck your chin to your chest more? And can you push the floor away any harder? Take a breath. Reverse. Open your chest, look up to the sky, and lift your tailbone. Again, try to widen your collarbone, rotate the shoulder blades back. Almost like trying to crack your back, like just squeeze the shoulder blades into your ribs and try to push your chest forward. And then last one, round all the way up to your cat. In this position, find your max rounded shape, and then keep that big rounded spine and push with your hands to lower your hips towards your heels. As you do this, keep your lower back rounded, and then tuck your tailbone, come back up to cat. Can you round any more? Push your hands into the ground and sit back towards your heels again. And then tuck your tailbone, come back up. Think of the mobility like a knees to elbows type movement for your abs. Hollow, sit back towards your heels. Tuck your tailbone, come back up. One more time, hollow, sit back. And come back up. Reverse the curve in your spine. Tailbone up, chest forward, take a breath. From here, walk your hands out about 2 hand lengths away and push the ground away. At the same time, think of your pelvis angling away from your hands to create like a big puppy stretch. If you need to widen your hands a bit, if you feel pinching or don't go quite so deep, from here, slide your hands another hand distance forward if you feel okay in your shoulders, and press your chest down towards the floor. This is literally called puppy pose. If it feels pinchy, widen your hands, don't go so deep. And then slide on back out of there. Whew. All right, roll those shoulders. What I'm hoping you felt in that puppy pose is some movement between your shoulder blades. If you didn't feel that yet, that's okay. We're going to keep working on it. It's going to get there, but that's the goal, is to find more mobility there so that we can use it when we try to get your arms in those crazy positions. Okay, let's do a little thread the needle. I'm going to take one hand, thread underneath my body, and I can bend my elbow to help me get low to the floor and reach as far as possible. Keep on reaching and lowering. Just hold that position. I'm literally putting my shoulder on the floor. If you need to adjust your knees, feel free. With my, top hand, the one that we started with, push your shoulder up towards the ceiling and look towards the sky. Take a deep breath. And then come on out. Let's do the same thing on the side too. Plant your hand, thread the arm, reach as far as you possibly can. And you can bend your elbow to get your chest lower to the floor. Once the outside of your shoulder can rest on the floor, use your front hand, the top hand, to push your top shoulder up towards the ceiling. Take a good breath. And then come on out of there. All right, back to side one. We're going to do the other direction of twisting. So take your arm behind you, flip your hand so that the back of your hand is going to go to your lower back, and then just reach across and up your back, sort of like you're trying to wash between your shoulder blades. I'm actually kind of reaching towards the opposite shoulder blade and rib cage. From here, push the ground away and rotate your chest towards the ceiling. And then come back. Now, as we did that, hopefully your pelvis didn't shift too far off center. So try that again. Think of rotating your spine like a rotisserie chicken. And come on back. Now this may be the best spot for you. My preference is actually sitting back a little bit. So try that with me and then you can choose which is your favorite. So from this position, sitting back towards my heels, same exact thing. Twist up towards the ceiling, open your chest, and then come back. So if you like this one, stay here. If you want to be up here, go there, your choice. 2 more times. Rotate up, pause. I'm going to add one more step. Your shoulder blade that's up top, can you roll it back any farther to help you open your chest? And then ease off, come back towards the floor. Last one. Twist, add the shoulder blade, roll it back, open your chest, and then ease on off. Whew. Side 2. Okay, so hand goes behind your back of your hand to your lower back, and then slide it up and across towards the opposite shoulder blade and rib cage. Rotisserie chicken time. Rotate up towards the ceiling. How does this feel? And come on back. Repeat. Lift up, eyes to the ceiling, chest to the ceiling. Come on down. Try version 2, sitting towards the heels. My personal favorite. And again, rotate up. Add the shoulder blade. Roll your shoulder blade back. And then ease forward. 2 more. Rotate up. Roll the top shoulder blade back. Maybe you can even continue reaching farther behind you. Then ease off. One more time. Roll back. Shoulder blade opens. Chest opens would be more accurate. And return. Whew. Let's try that puppy pose again. So from all fours, walk your hands pretty far out. Lift your tailbone. And then if you want, you can slide your hands farther away and then push your chest down. Notice that my hips are over my knees. Is this any easier? Does it feel more comfortable at all? And can you feel a movement work between the shoulder blades? Ah, and then ease on out of there. Let's come back to sitting and see if your twisting has improved at all so far. So sit up tall, use your abs, twist, 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 twist. Can you go farther or at least the same distance but easier? Take either of those and perhaps both are true. All right, side 2, twist, 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 twist. All right, what do you think? Any improvement? I certainly went farther. Okay, next we need some more props. So I got some options for you. You need something that you can put between your elbows. So I have a yoga block, a short foam roller, or I know you guys have this, or I hope you do, paper towels. Pandemic, but we can still find paper towels. So something like this, or get creative if you don't have any of those things. Then also you need a TheraBand of some sort. So we can use that mobility band that you had before, hold it between your hands. If you have a loop, it certainly is gonna be the easiest. I have a pretty light loop because this is gonna work really small muscles in your shoulders. We don't need to kill them. Okay, so find something that you can put between your elbows and grab a TheraBand or put a loop around your hand. So if you have your mobility band, it would just look like this. Very light tension. You can certainly use something solid as well. You just need something that you can lightly pull against. Doesn't have to be fancy, fancy. Okay, so find something that you can put between your elbows, something that you can pull between your hands, and sit. Whew. Okay, you can certainly stand, do this in another position if sitting is uncomfortable. Sit on a box, a chair, no big deal. But in this position, by sitting, my back is going to likely be more flattened, hollowed, and I'm less likely to be able to arch. So neutral or slight hollow is my preference for this one. That way you have to use your upper back and you can't cheat with your lower back. Here we go. Lift your elbows up as high as you can while keeping your hands parallel. So you don't let them TP in. Parallel. Here we go. Lift and lower. Lift as high as you can and then ease down to where it's comfortable. As high as you can. Come back down. Let's try for 5 more. My shoulders are already on fire. They do not love this, but they love the results. 3 more, up and down, up and down. Last one. Oh, all right. Let's do a stretch. You can do this in sitting, standing, doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to keep your arms in that vertical forearm position. Bring it across and sweep the other arm underneath. You can get your elbow under there if you have long arms. I have T-Rex arms, so I'm just going to pull as much as I can. So pull that arm across while keeping your arm vertical. It wants to like plop down. Okay, from here, with the shoulder blade that you're stretching, do like a row motion. So row that shoulder blade backwards while you're still pulling your arm across and keeping your forearm vertical. Next is add a little bit more work. Your elbow that you're stretching, push that out against the bottom arm so that hopefully you feel a bit of tension on the outside of your shoulder, maybe even into the back of the shoulder blade. And then just hug it in, relax. All right, repeat. Forearm is vertical. Row the shoulder blade back and push your elbow outwards to create lots of tension both between the shoulder blades and on the outside of the shoulder. This is similar to like that front rack stretch you do with the PVC pipe. And relax. Stretch it in. All right, give that shoulder a break. Sometimes the shoulder blade muscles in the back here get really stiff and kind of pushes your shoulder forward, and that's one cause of pinching that we sometimes get in the top or front. Ooh, okay, side 2. Arm comes across, forearm up, bottom arm sweeps under, and hug it across your chest. Keep that forearm up. Shoulder blade, row it back and down, and then push your elbow outwards. Relax, hug it in. One more time, row that shoulder blade back, push the elbow outwards, create all that tension, and then relax, hug it back in. Awesome. Whew, ease on out. Okay, you may feel like you've been really closed off in your chest now. So let's just work on getting the shoulder blades back again. So take note that the purpose is to open your chest, pull the shoulder blades back, not just to get the arms back. So arms forward, palms up, open your collarbone, rotate your scapula around your rib cage to open your chest. You should not feel pinching in the back of your shoulders. From there, keep pulsing your shoulder blades back, open your chest. Notice if your shoulder blades are not moving. That would be a sign of you're not doing this correctly. And you're probably going to irritate your shoulder. Don't do that. All right, if you can continue keeping those shoulder blades moving, do so and lift your arms a couple inches. So now getting different angles of the pecs, stretching, as you actively pulse your shoulder blades back. Now, as you do this, if it feels okay, you can let your chest, like do a chest bump now, which means you are going to get some extension in your back, totally fine. as long as you're doing things consciously and with intention. Let's bring those arms up a little higher, more like you're making a Y, like kind of hitchhiking. Pulse those shoulder blades back. Ooh, all right, you can always stop here or continue going. This is getting pretty tough, especially on my tighter side, to keep moving the shoulder blades. You got to keep moving your shoulder blades. If that's not happening, back down a little bit. 5 more, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ooh, come on down. Ooh, just some easy shoulder rolls. All right, next let's go to a plank downward dog. And as we do this, think back to that puppy pose that we have been working on earlier, where your arms are here and you're trying to push your chest towards the floor. I'm going to attempt to do that in downward dog. So it should feel like your upper back is doing this, but your arms are in downward dog. So let's give it a go. Plank, tighten up your abs, push the floor away. The arms are going to do all the work here. So push the ground away from you with your hands to push your hips up to the ceiling. As the hips go up, you need to allow your back to arch, which you may need to bend your knees to do that. If you have tight hamstrings, you're going to keep your tailbone tucked. Soft knees might help. Push the ground away, tailbone to the ceiling. Imagine that you have a helium balloon attached to your tailbone that's going to pull you up. And then keep pushing the floor away to create more space in your shoulders. You can think of like outwardly rotating your shoulders, like you're trying to air out your armpits a little bit to create even more space under your shoulders. And then can you push your collarbone down towards the floor? Again, you can soften your knees as much as you need to. From this position, think of hollowing your core, return to plank. Repeat, push the ground away, tailbone floats to the ceiling, soften your knees, push the ground away as far as possible to create more length and space in your shoulder blades. Open those armpits by rotating outwards. Press your chest towards the floor. I still think about trying to crack my upper back with my shoulder blades and really puff out your chest. Hollow your core, return to plank. We'll do one more. So push, float your tailbone up to the ceiling. Lengthen through your shoulders by continuing to press those arms. Open your armpits, press your chest downwards. And then hollow your core, return. Whew. All right, shake out those arms. We're in the home stretch. So grab a foam roller. If you don't have a foam roller, towels on a hardwood floor or furniture sliders would work, or just try to slide on the ground without hurting yourself. So I'm going to use my foam roll. This is a short one. A long one would be better if you have really tight shoulders. Come down to your tummy. And in this position, I want you to think of flattening your lower back and hollowing your abs a bit so that your bottom ribs always stay connected to the ground. I never want you to feel like your lower back is doing all the work because we're focusing on upper back today. So arms overhead, thumbs up on your foam roll or sliders or towels on the floor. So it'll be more like this. Your choice. So hollow your core, flatten your back. Without lifting your chest, start to just pull your shoulder blades down away from your ears and glide your foam roll or towels towards you. And then glide away. Repeat. Pull it in. Your core is still tight. Your lower back is still long and flat-ish. Then reach away. 3 more. Pull it back. Reach away. Pull back. Can you go a little farther? And then reach away. Last one. Pull it back. Now hold this pull back position and think of finding the muscles between your shoulder blades. Think of like kind of pivoting them towards your ribs so you get those lower and mid traps working. And then slightly lift your collarbone up like you're at the front of the Titanic. And then float away. Repeat. Shoulder blades glide away from your ears and then lift your collarbone and imagine that there's a collarbone magnet on the wall in front of you, and your collarbone is trying to lengthen forward or push forward. Then come back down. One more time. We're going to shoulder blades glide down, collarbone forward, hold it here. Can you continue pulling your chest more forward? Feel more work, more energy, more muscles between the shoulder blades. Your shoulder blades are not like pinching against your spine. They're just engaging against your rib cage so you can find all those muscles. Imagine you're like an anatomy muscle model and you want to show off your mid-back muscles. And then come on down. Whew. All right, sit back to child's pose. Give your back a break. Let's take both hands over to one side. Plant your hands, lower the hips, and take a deep breath. Other side, plant those hands, pull your hips back, take a deep breath. All right, let's see how we're doing on our pre-test for the shoulders. So on your back, knees to your chest so that your lower back is flat. And then take your arms overhead. How does it feel now compared to earlier? Mine is much more mobile. Yay. And check in with your spine twist. How do you feel now compared to before? Now, I held most of these stretches for maybe 5 to 10 seconds. You can always do these longer. So find the things that helped you the most, repeat them, maybe double the time, double the reps, even triple, so that you are getting more work on your weak links. So hopefully that helped. If it does, please let me know so that I get some, positive encouragement about what we're doing here, and I can better cater future offerings to you. If I don't know how you're doing, then I'm going to do what's good for me. So